York Mets Nation, and welcome to the Bat Cave. I'm your host, the Bat Frie, Kenny Fry. And let's start it off with a hump day. It's Wednesday morning in December. Freezing, man. Freaking freezing here in Pennsylvania and the large parts of the country, I assume. You know, it's winter time just about, right? The winter solstice, I believe, is the 21st. So it is cold. Let's check out the comments here. There we go. Yuki Matsui, I haven't heard from you in a while, buddy. How you doing? Thanks for checking the show out. Thank you for commenting. Much appreciated. 400 mil for Yamamoto too high. That's one of the topics, and it depends on how many years. I was just listening to Locked On Mets podcast. I think it was last night or the night before. I don't remember. It all runs together now. But one of the things he talked about was pitchers not usually getting a long-term contracts, like 10 years. You know, it's unheard of for pitchers, usually because of free agent pitchers, usually in the late 20s, early 30s, an ace anyway. It's not too often you see an ace pitcher this young. You know, so supposed ace. You know, he hasn't done it in the major leagues yet, but you know, everything that you hear about him that points in his direction says he's going to be an ace pitcher. So he was saying, the host for this show was saying, if you push it out to 12 years, you push out $400 million to 12 years, you come out with your AAV around $33.3 million. Whereas if you had it at like 9 years, where Garrett Cole was for I don't know if it was like 33 million or whatever it was, it'd almost be the same kind of AAV. So if you give him 400 million, you push that out to 12 years. Which is kind of nuts. That takes you up to 37 years old for a pitcher. But I mean, if he turns out to be everything that he's supposed to be, everything that he's built up to be, then you know it'd be well worth it. You know, there's going to be injuries if you sign somebody that long, no matter if it's a position player, a pitcher, or whatever. There's going to be an injury somewhere along that stretch of 12 years. There's going to be an injury or two. It just depends on the severity and how it alters his career. And so, I mean, 400 million is a lot of freaking money. Those are numbers that I thought I would never, ever see. I remember when Alex Rodriguez signed a $250 million contract with the Texas Rangers. I don't remember how old I was. I'm 14, 15 years old. I don't know. I just thought it was absolutely insane. You know, just that kind of money. It's like, I can't fathom it. And now we're to the point where you have a player that just had Tommy John elbow surgery getting $700 million over 10 years. It's, you know, I never thought I'd see something like that. I mean, like, insanity, but I mean, if you have an owner that's willing to pay something like that, and if they can work it out to where it's somewhat team friendly, because you know there's other pieces that you have to sign. I mean, that's one good thing about baseball is there is no salary cap, and it's not good for teams like, you know, the Royals or the Tampa Bay Rays. But then again, the Royals have a more recent World Series than the New York Mets do. So, I mean, money is money, but it doesn't always translate into wins and championships, as we well know. You know, especially from last season, all the hullabaloo made of our payroll and what happened. You know, for the season was a shit show. Eileen, hump day. Yes, it is. Beautiful. Love hump day. Yuki says the man is short and his fastball is average. And that's what I was reading up on. His fastball's low 90s, low to mid 90s, but it's his breaking stuff that I think defines who he is as a pitcher. You know, he throws his slider, a couple different variations of curveballs. And I think they said his go-to strikeout pitch is a splitter. So, I mean, if you can get a pitcher with really, really good junk stuff, I mean, your average fastball or below average, depending on how you're looking at it, you know, again, back during, you know, my younger days, 90 to, you know, low 90 to mid 90s was a really good fastball. Now that's your average type of fastball nowadays. So if you have good breaking stuff, you know, good junk pitching, you know, your fastball sometimes looks even faster, and your fastball is just complementary to those junk pitches. So you can get away with it as long as you're really good at locating. And everything that I've read on him, he doesn't walk many people. So that's one of the huge things for me is seeing what his walks per 9 were, and it was super low. I don't know if it was like 1.4 or something insane like that. It looked really, really good. And so it was really interesting to see that. So yeah, he's not a power pitcher by any imagination. He's not Randy Johnson. He's not going to go out there throw 100-mile-an-hour or whatever. And but location, your breaking stuff, that's huge right there. Yuki says my limit is 5 years, $200 million. Take it or leave it. I think he'd probably leave that, especially from everything I heard. I think he's big on the nostalgic type franchises, your Yankees, your Dodgers, even to a lesser extent, maybe your Giants. And 5 years, 200 million. I don't know. That's a contract I think that would be topped because of the length. Not so much the money, because that's good money. That's really good money. But I think the length is what would do that. But I understand where you're coming from with the 5 years. What if he comes in and he's a bust and you gave the dude 12 years, $400 million? I mean, that's guaranteed money, right? So that's insane. But if he's not a bust, it's one of those. It's a rotation changer, they say. Do you take the chance? I don't know. I don't know. So the whole Shohei Ohtani thing. My thoughts on that. I'm glad the Mets weren't in on that $700 million fiasco that the Dodgers. The dude's been hurt 3 times since 2019. 2 Tommy John surgeries and a oblique injury. I mean, he's missed some significant time. He's like a unicorn. He could be a Cy Young winner and an MVP all in the same season, which wouldn't surprise me if he does do that. But I mean, I think the risk is too high for that kind of contract that he got. I'm glad the Mets were not a part of that, and I'd rather see them sign, somebody like a Yamamoto if it takes $350 to $400 million, and re-sign Pete Alonso for another 200. So you still got those 2 guys, or 185, whatever it's going to be for Pete. You still got those 2 guys for less than what you're paying for in the long run for Shohei Ohtani, and you could be getting a better deal. I mean, so as of right now, Shohei Ohtani is probably the better power hitter out of the 2. He's definitely a better. He has a better average than Pete Alonso does, but Pete can be power number wise. Pete can be right there along with Shohei Ohtani. So pitching wise, you can consider Shohei Ohtani an ace. Yoshinobu Yamamoto, an ace. I think he's won the last 3 MVPs in the Nippon League out there in Japan, or something like that. And so it's you know what I mean. You save a little bit of money by going with 2 guys and 1 guy. I don't know. It's just that's something I've been arguing for a while with the whole Shohei Ohtani thing. Just the amount of money for 1 guy, and if he gets hurt, then you're out 2 positions. You're out basically 2 players. If he gets hurt, you're out of a big bat, and you're out an ace pitcher as well. So right now, with him the Tommy John surgery, they're expecting him to be back to hit, but not pitch. So you're getting that first season of Shohei Ohtani, no pitching. So that now you lost one of your pitchers. So now if he comes back in the 2025 season to pitch and hit, who's to say he doesn't get hurt while swinging a bat? Pulls a back muscle swinging a bat, or pulls a hip flexor. That's a word that's been coming up recently. Hip flexors. What the hell's a hip flexor? I'm not a doctor, but anyway, he pulls a hip flexor, and now you're out a bat and a pitcher. It's too risky. 1 guy, 2 spots like that. But I'm not the Dodgers. Dodgers, they figured it out with the whole, putting the money at the end after he's done playing, basically. Cowboy Dave, the Heartbreak Kid, Dave Yarnall. What's up, brother? How you doing? Good morning on the Hump Day. All right, so I apologize for the dogs barking. My old man, my Pappy Fry's wandering around the bat cave here, and the dogs are freaking out about it. So, so just recently, the Mets went ahead and signed Yohan Ramirez, a free agent relief pitcher. another whatever kind of deal for the bullpen. I don't know. And I've mentioned this before on past Bat Caves about the bullpen arms. It's so hard with the bullpen because you can have a couple guys in your bullpen that pitch like crap one season, and then the next season they're aces in the bullpen. So it's so hard to pick and choose, who's going to be good, who's not going to be good. You'll get the occasional guy that's really good in the bullpen for his whole career or for at least a couple of years back to back to back. But you also get a guy, like I said, that's crap one year, really good the next year, crap the next year after that, then good again. Those are the guys that seem to hop around a lot more as well. So I don't know what to think of it. Stat wise, nothing to jump out at you. 6-2 last year. 1-0 last year, 4.23 ERA in 31 games. He had a 3.62 ERA with most of his time with Pittsburgh. So that's not terrible. They also signed a right-hand pitcher, Jorge Lopez. He was 6-2, 5.95 ERA in 61 games. Again, crap, but who knows? Next year, you had a change of scenery, different pitching coach, all this other stuff. I don't know. And also Michael Tonkin a few weeks ago, they signed it. I'm doing the show every other week now that I try to catch up a little bit. Michael Tonkin was 7-3 with a 4.28 ERA in 45 games with the Atlanta Braves, and also he pitched in the minor leagues last season a little bit. And he's been all over like Puerto Rico and stuff like that, pitching around there the last couple seasons. So again, nothing too exciting there, but just kind of bolstering depth in the bullpen. So nothing too crazy with the signings. Just kind of waiting for the pieces to fall with Yamamoto and where you go from there. Yuki says, Kenny, the hot stove is ice cold. Yeah, you ain't joking. Fake news is making hot stove grow a long nose. Oh, you're not even kidding. I like every day my Twitter, Yamamoto this, it's, you don't know what to believe. You don't know. So I kind of just ride the wave. I listen to a couple different podcasts and kind of make my own judgments on it from there. And just, wait. So I've been hearing that there's a chance that Yamamoto signs by the end of the week. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I hope he does. I was hoping he'd sign like yesterday so I can talk about it today. Give me a little bit of filler material here. So, it's a good chunk of the show, but no dice. He'll probably sign at 11:50 or something like that today after I go to bed. That's what's going to happen. But they're expecting him to sign sometime this week before Christmas. We'll wait and see what happens. Once he signs, I believe some more of those pitching chips will then fall, and hopefully it gets the ball rolling. And that happened last year with somebody. I don't remember who it was. He signed. I don't remember. Was it Verlander or somebody signed last season? The hot stove was kind of. And after this person's, signed, everything kind of took off. This guy signed, this guy signed, this guy signed. Everything just kind of started falling into place. So hopefully, when Yamamoto signs, that kind of clears a lot of people's heads, and people start dropping into place there, and it gets exciting again. The off season is supposed to be exciting because of the free agency and trades and stuff, but it's been nothing. It's terrible. But it's a lot of what ifs. You're hearing a lot about Justin Turner and stuff like that. So, who knows? Eileen says Ohtani to the Blue Jays was a great day. You ain't kidding. Yeah, those poor Blue Jays. I was again, just like Yuki Matsui was saying about the hot stove being ice cold and growing a long nose and stuff like that. I can't tell you how many times I've seen on the old Twitter box that Shohei Ohtani was going to be a Blue Jay. Shohei Ohtani's going to the Blue Jays. He's flying to Toronto right now. Oh, his plane turned around halfway to Toronto, or his plane was in Toronto and turned around and went back to Los Angeles because he's going to sign with the Dodgers. Or, Ohtani had dinner with the Blue Jay mascot. And so, I don't know. It was so stupid. It really was. But to be honest with you, it was kind of funny. It seemed like the Blue Jays thought they had him. I would have been curious to see what their package was for him compared to what the Dodgers had. But, if there was any deferred money in that or not. It would have been interesting because it's a decent young core right now with the Blue Jays, who over in the next couple of years are going to have to figure out how to re-sign those guys. So it would have been something to sign Shohei Ohtani, but overall, it wasn't too surprising that he stayed in Los Angeles. But you, as a Yankee fan, you were probably sitting there in your chair, just laughing away. But not even like a giggle, like a big belly laugh. Ha 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 ha! One of those gimmicks, She also says the Twitter detectives were certain he was going to the Blue Jays. Yeah, all day I was here. For a couple of days I was here. Blue Jays. He's going to Blue Jays. He's going to be a Blue Jay, which would have been shocking as shit if you ask me. It would have been, for me, it was Los Angeles or New York, but it wasn't too surprising he decided to stay with the West Coast. Cowboy Dave says, are the Mets keeping Marte? Yeah, he's under contract for a couple more seasons, Dave. Hopefully he's healthy when he comes in this season. The last 2 seasons have been injury plagued, and it's really, really he's struggled. And when he's good, the Mets lineup appears to be much better. Things happen a lot more. But when he's struggling at the plate and not in the lineup, you can see the lineup was like in disarray this season. When he's in and he's healthy, it's a different team. Yuki says, can the Yankees really afford Yamamoto? They have Judge, Stanton, Cole, Rondon, and eventually Soto extension. Who's to say what the Yankees can afford and what the Yankees can't afford? I don't know. It's kind of surprising me the way they've made the splash with the Soto trade. I didn't see that coming, but the Stanton. I don't know how thrilled they are with Stanton. Is Stanton somebody they look to unload somewhere? Maybe a trade. I know his contract is pretty big, so it's gonna be tough. But who knows? Garrett Cole just signed his 9-year deal. I think it was that last season or 2 seasons ago. Yeah, I don't know, and that's one of those things. Does Yamamoto go the deferment route like Ohtani did? Does he make it affordable for the Yankees? I don't know. Depends on how smitten he is with the Yankees. And I'll give the Yankees their due. Obviously I'm a Mets fan, but the Yankees are very enticing just because of the Yankee, the pinstripes. You know what I mean? It's the Yankee, the history and stuff like that. Him as a foreign born player, that's more, for me, thinking in his shoes, that'd be a little bit more intriguing, like to be part of that Yankee history. He comes in, he wins, multiple Cy Youngs, get the Yankees to the World Series, has his name next to, to Ruth and, Mantle and stuff like that. And, DiMaggio and all those other great Yankees pitchers throughout the past, that's pretty enticing. So this is the deferment, the way that the Dodgers opened up the whole deferment route with that large portion of the contract, that much of the contract has really opened up a lot of different things for different teams with these bigger contracts. I mean, deferment's though always been around, and we obviously the Mets know the whole Bobby Bonilla thing. Happy Bobby Bonilla Day. Well, that's the deferment. That's why we get to hear that every year. The Mets are still paying Bobby Bonilla. It's 50 years later. Bobby Bonilla has been dead for 6 years. They're still paying him, and but never seen that amount before. The 600. Was it 680 million or whatever it is? Unbelievable. What's up, Adam Glenn? How you doing, buddy? Thanks for checking the show out. You were not first today, pal. Sorry. Yuki says, can he check out Sterling Marte dancing and getting down with his new wife on X? There we go. The hips area look loosey-goosey and ready for the 2020. Beautiful. I got to check that out. If I'm going to have to watch this, I might get a little bit nervous, watching him move around like that, because it's one wrong move and he's back on the shelf. And another missed season for Marte. I'll tell you what, the 2022 season, when he was good, when he was healthy, he was awesome. And he's somebody that can, steal a lot of bases for us, which I was, banking on Nimmo stealing a lot of bases, but for some reason the dude doesn't run. I don't know. And maybe the new wife, is going to keep him loosey-goosey, with all that dancing. Maybe she's going to keep him nice and stretched and limbered up and stuff. So the new wife might be the ticket here. Adam said, Yuki Matsui was the first comment today, buddy. No, it wasn't Eileen. Eileen, I believe, was second. If I scroll back, yep, Eileen was second. Yuki Matsui jumped everybody this time. There's a new number one. So it's a bit of a bummer news here. Ronnie Mauricio tore his ACL. I guess that's, again, I'm on every other week, so it feels like ages ago. I think it was last week, sometime last week. He tore his ACL playing down in the I believe it was the Dominican Winter League, which he tore up last year, and he was tearing up this year as well. And it's a huge bummer because I was excited to see what all Mets fans were excited to see what he was able to do this season coming up. But even if he does get cleared to return, it's not going to be until like August, September. And at that point, unless the Mets are in a really hot race and they could use an extra bat or whatever, I wouldn't expect to see him back. I just take the whole season and come back the following year 100%. Because not only is he not going to have a spring training if he comes back, August or September, it's going to take some time for him to get used to playing on that knee again. It's hard. I've tore my ACL. I know the stuff that goes in your head when you take a step and you feel like it's a little bit loose. Like you start doubting yourself and you get nervous. You kind of hesitate a little bit. You can't have somebody hesitating up at the plate or in the field. You can't have it. So it takes a little bit of time to get that out of your head, to be confident again in your ability, in your legs' ability, and understanding that, okay, every step I take does not mean my ACL is going to snap in half again. So that's a bummer. But that also leads to a couple questions with Ronnie Mauricio playing a couple different positions. Second base. Trey was training a little bit in the outfield. Also, there's been some third base thrown out there. So what does that mean? We got the outfield covered. We have second base covered, Jeff McNeil. What does that mean for third base? There's been a lot of talk about Brett Beatty, with his struggles last season, at the plate, in the field, mentally. He was knocked down back down to the minors after a couple comments in the press about not being mentally aware or mentally in the game sometimes. So are we okay with rolling with Beatty? We also have Mark Vientos. He's not the greatest third baseman out there, but he's another guy that is okay at third base. It's so our options are now limited. I'm cool with Beatty there. I really am. Struggled last season, but he's a rookie. I give him a pass. Sometimes it takes a couple of years for a rookie to really find their footing in the major league. Not every rookie is going to come out balls to the wall and just blast everybody. It's not going to happen every single time. You're going to get rookies that are come up. It's going to take 2-3 years for them to get their footing and to be who they're actually supposed to be. So I'm still cool with going with Beatty. If it's a Beatty Vientos trade off, back and forth, I'm cool with that as well. You'd like to see one of those guys get the majority of the games, the majority of the reps. So it's not like last season when Buck was the manager, when you have Mark Vientos sitting the bench for 3 or 4 games, and then all of a sudden coming in for an at bat or two as a DH. It's like they're not getting any better like that. They're not. So you want to see somebody at least get a bulk of those reps. At third base, maybe Beatty at third base and Vientos at DH, or vice versa. Even trade off. Still keep them in the lineup and hitting, but swap them out at third base every once in a while. I don't know. And like I said, I mentioned earlier in the show, there have been some Justin Turner rumors. As cool as that would be, former Met Justin Turner, it'd be nice to see him back in the orange and blue, just so he doesn't kill us anymore. Because every time we face a dude, he just slaughters us. That's the only reason I could see us signing him. But it would be pretty cool. I like the whole reunion things. I was really hoping the Mets would re-sign Seth Lugo as a potential number 5 in our rotation, but he just recently signed with Kansas City, so that's not going to happen. But if the Mets do go Josh Turner or Justin Turner, a couple different, they can use him at third base. He is, I think, 37, 38 years old. So he's not going to be your everyday third baseman, but they could use him at DH as well. He hit, fairly decent last season with the Red Sox. I don't have the numbers right here in front of me. I don't remember exactly what they were, but it was, somewhere in the 200s, which, could be anything. But he didn't do bad. He didn't do bad with the Red Sox. So I'd be all right if they sign him. I just don't see it happening. I see them rolling with who they have and going from there. Maybe another minor, something like a smaller name that nobody really knows about. They signed him to a minor league deal and a spring training invitation or something like that. I don't know. Cowboy Dave says, with Diaz being healthy this year, will they get more wins with him being the closer? I hope so. It wasn't the closers last season, Dave. It was the rest of the bullpen, to be honest with you. So Robertson was closing last season with an array of a bunch of different. Brooks Raleigh closed a couple games, and Ottavino closed a couple games. So there was a slew of people closing games last season. So with Diaz being back, it kind of solidifies that closing spot, so you don't have people jumbling around in as your closer. But it was the rest of the bullpen that was the issue. It wasn't the back half, the setup or the closers. Our starting pitchers could only go 5 innings last season because they threw so many damn pitches, walked a lot of people. So you have that. The Mets might have like a 4-1 lead. Going into the 5th, 6th inning, all of a sudden you have that early part, the middle part of your bullpen in there, and by the time you get to the 8th or 9th inning, the Mets are back down or tied. So that was kind of it wasn't so much a closer in my opinion. Adam is the number one fan. Yeah, you are, Adam. You are the number one fan. You know who you are. I thought Wendell played well, played third as well. Wendell, I don't know who Wendell is off the top of my head. Anyway, Dave, you'll have to elaborate on that a little bit more. So last year at third, you had Beatty, you had Luis Guillorme a little bit, Vientos a little bit. Who else was there? I think that was it that I could think of anyway. Oh, Joey Wendell. Okay. Well, yeah. Then the Mets just picked him up. So I don't know a whole lot about Joey Wendell. I don't know a whole lot about him. I do know he's a utility guy. He does play a lot of different positions. So that is another name. He doesn't quite have the bat that Beatty and Vientos supposedly have, or you want them to have. So that's the downfall there. But as a defensive replacement, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's new to the team. That's why I'm like, Wendell. Who the frick is Wendell? In 2022, Ronald Acuna Jr. Took it easy on his ACL because he wasn't confident with his fixed knee. Yes, absolutely. That's a perfect example right there, Yuki. Thank you for bringing that up. Your MVP this season, Ronald Acuna Jr. The year before, 2022, coming fresh off ACL surgery. He hit in I think the mid 200s. Really, I don't want to say struggled, but he wasn't himself. He wasn't his. If you go back to seasons before, he wasn't himself, and everybody knew that. And it came into this season, and he was back to being super Ronald Acuna Jr. So it takes a season. It really does for you to get used to get confident on that knee. Like I said, I've been through it. I've had ACL surgery. I came back, and granted, it wasn't playing Major League Baseball, but I came back to play my senior year of high school football. Well, actually, it was my sophomore year. So I came back to play my senior year, my junior year of high school. I struggled. I really did. I missed a game or two. Just wasn't confident on it. When it came back to my senior season, I felt more confident. I felt stronger. I felt faster, and I had a much better season. So we'll move on from that. So we were talking Yamamoto, so Yamamania. So we'll move on from that already. We already covered that pretty much. Shohei Ohtani. I kind of let my feelings know about what I thought about the whole Shohei Ohtani signing, the deferment of all that money. So he's signed a $700 million contract for 10 years, but he's only getting paid $2 million a year over those 10 years, and the rest of that money is going to kick in 2034 to 2043 at $68 million a year. I mean, good on him and the Dodgers for doing that. I mean, a lot of people were saying it felt like cheating. It felt like Dodgers were taking advantage of a system. I mean, it's there. Why not use it? I mean, it's just really surprising that you have a player being not selfish with money. I mean, basically that's what it comes down. That's what I think, and that's one of the things that Ohtani said. If this means that he can help the Dodgers lower their luxury tax and the competitive balance tax, which is I think if I don't know what it would have been if he would have taken the whole $70 million a year over the 10 years, but with him doing only $2 million a year over 10 years, it puts their competitive balance tax at like 46 million instead of, I don't know, 80 million, something like that. So that gives them more opportunity to sign more players, re-sign some current players. So that puts them in play for Yamamoto. I mean, basically that's, because of Shohei Ohtani and, being creative with his contract, him, his agent, and Los Angeles Dodgers. So good on them. Pisses me off, but they won that one. They win that round. And I don't view it as cheating or as, taking advantage of the system. Like I said, teams defer contracts all the time for payments after their career is over, all the time. He just did it in a larger lump sum. So I mean, a larger number. Adam says, is Sean on? Sean is not on right now. I did tell him last night at work. He did stay over a couple hours. He was making meatballs last night. So when he went home. So maybe he's sleeping in because he was making too many meatballs. I don't know. Dave Yarnell says Ohtani wanted to stay in LA. Yeah, I agree with that, Dave. He already had his roots grounded in Los Angeles with being at the Angels and stuff, and West Coast, and I don't know West Coast being closer to Japan. I don't know if that matters or not because it's still a goddamn ocean away. So it's not really all that. It's not like you're driving down the street corner to the liquor store. Now, Japan's not that close, but it's still closer than it is if you're on the East Coast. So I feel like the weather's nicer, and I don't know if the lights are brighter. That more attention. I don't know. Because New York is a large market, but I think LA might be a little bit bigger. But I'm not sure. I don't know who the hell am I to judge what the markets are. I don't know. Last Mets topic for the day, real quick. Francisco Alvarez looking for an extension, pre-arbitration extension. So now, I'm not some sort of union guy or a union steward or whatever the hell you want to call him. I'm not in a union. I've never been in a union. I don't understand arbitration. I'm not a lawyer. I don't think I'm a lawyer anyway. I'm just a fat guy that goes to a factory and works for a living. So I don't know about any arbitrations and how any of that stuff works. But anyway, he's looking to extend out before he's eligible for arbitration. And I guess there's a couple ways to look at it. The Mets have control of his contract, basically, if you include the arbitration years, through 2028. So they have control of him for over the next 4 seasons, basically 4 or 5 seasons, however you want to look at whatever year. And so they still have control of him. Plenty of time. There's no rush to get a contract extension done. But this is something that teams like the Braves have done. Well, they'll lock up their young talent extremely early for a much cheaper price than they would have if they waited a couple of years and those guys really blew up their numbers. This past season, Alvarez, 25 home runs, 60 plus RBIs. I think it was 69 RBI or 65 RBI or something like that. And so if he continues to have that kind of success, let's say, 2 years from now, he's hitting, 35 home runs, hitting, 250, 35 home runs, 89 RBI. And it's just, an all-star every year. So now that contract might look like, 8 years, 190 million, whereas right now maybe you can get him for 8 years, 115 million. Again, these are just fake numbers. I don't know what the hell it would cost the Mets to re-sign Francisco Alvarez right now, but I'm just saying you could get him for much cheaper if you do the extension now than it is if you wait till the 2028 season when his value might be a much, much higher. So it might not be a bad idea to go ahead and do that, to be honest with you. Got a comment here. Yuki says Alvarez is great. Pay the man. I agree 100%. I'm a big fan of the catchers. I'm a big fan of Alvarez. I like his spunkiness. Yeah, he's like a lightning rod that kid is. So I agree. So sign him now. If you want to give him 10 years, give him 10 years. I'm cool with that. Just do it now. If you wait till 2028, it's going to be a lot of money. Which again, Uncle Steve Cohen, he can afford it. But it's just smart baseball. Don't let the guy get to free agency in 2028 and let him pick where he wants to go. Tie him up now and be done with it for a while. All right. So before I get to my last topic, I'm going to go ahead and do a couple sponsor reads here. I'm going to start off with Big Al. Let me get the banners off of here before I talk about Big Al. All right, Jason Fine, attorney Big Al. You can reach Big Al at 1-800-HURT-123. That's 1-800-HURT-123. Jason Fine specializes in motor vehicle accidents, slip and falls, workman's comp, and personal injury claims. He has 3 office locations conveniently located throughout Pennsylvania and New Jersey. His office located in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, 3 Greensward Lane. The phone number there is 856-209-5258. Then in the steel city of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The offices are located at 500 Grant Street, Suite 2900. The phone number there is 412-365-8151. Then in the city of brotherly love, the office is located in 1628 JFK Boulevard, Suite 2120, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The phone number there is 267-888-2980. That's Jason Fine, attorney Big Al. And once you're done getting your legal fees all straightened out, head on over to monkeycoltcoffee.com. Get yourself some coffee. They got bourbon chocolate chip infused coffee, toasted coconut rum, Sumatran blend, which is part of their global gourmet collection. The Sumatran blend's a medium roast coffee. You can get that in whole or ground coffee, whole bean or ground. One of their newer blends, the organic blend, Peru La Florida, is also part of their global gourmet collection. You can also get that in whole bean or ground. They also have a brand new flavor out, honey agave. I just ordered that. They're waiting for it to come in. It should come in, I think, tomorrow. The little email said. So once you get your coffee, head on over to the swag shop and get yourself a T-shirt. They got coffee mugs, the tumbler cups. I'll tell you what, the tumbler cup kicks ass. If you're going to buy anything out of this swag shop, get yourself the tumbler mug, the tumbler cup there. I had it Saturday. We're at Hershey Park. I had coffee in it at 11 a.m. and I drank probably about half of it by the time we got to the park. So we're in the park for 6 hours, came back, my coffee was still hot. And that kicks ass right there. That is ass-kicking coffee. That's an ass-kicking tumbler. They also got cold brew pitcher set, which I have, is fantastic if you like cold brew coffee. They have K-Cup adapters for all you K-Cuppers out there. They also have a Paradise Rum Cake, and they're also selling barrel-aged honey right now. So go ahead and get yourself some Monkey Colt Coffee honey. And once you fill up your virtual shopping cart with all your Monkey Colt Coffee stuff, be sure to use that promo code at checkout, OOTB Sports, for 10% off. That promo code, once again, is OOTB Sports for 10% off of your purchase at monkeycoltcoffee.com. And I'm back. All right. So finally, we're creeping up on the Christmas holiday here. Today is Wednesday, December 20th, and today is National Christmas Carol Day. So I'm going to do a top 10 list of Christmas carols. Let me know what your favorite Christmas carol is. These ones are, for the most part, my favorite Christmas carols. Some of them, I like. Some of them are just classics, and they have to be in the top 10 list no matter what. So before I do that, I got a couple quick comments to hit up. Dave Yarnell says, didn't Nimmo just get a new contract with the Mets? Yes, last season he got, I think it was an 8 or 9 year contract with the Mets. He had a really good season last year, defensively, offensively. Came out like a bat out of hell this past season, 2023. Cooled off a little bit, had some hot stretches, some cold stretches, but overall had a really, really good season. Eileen says, yeah, you're going to sing us some songs. The one or two. So number 10, we have Hark Herald Angels Sing. Hark herald angels sing, glory to the newborn king. You got that one. Number 9, Rudolph. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And of course, everybody knows that one. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer had a very shiny nose. Number 8, the Little Drummer Boy. This is the pum pum. That's the only parts I know. That's the only parts that I want to sing too. So number 7, Here Comes Santa Claus. Here comes Santa Claus. Here comes Santa Claus. Right down Santa Claus Lane. Love that song. Traditional. I remember singing that when I was a little kid. Pappy Fry would come in his underwear. All the presents under the Christmas tree. And he was, here comes Santa Claus. Here comes Santa Claus. Right down Santa Claus Lane. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Yeah. Number 6, Deck the Halls. Deck the halls with boughs of holly. La 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 la. Right? Who doesn't love that? 5, We Wish You a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Batcave Christmas. Number 4, Joy to the World. The Bat Frie's the man. Number 3, Silent Night. Silent Night. Holy Night. Right there, yeah. Number 2, The 12 Days of Christmas. We all know about the Partridge in the Pear Tree, right? Right? 8 maids a milking. Oh, yeah. Hanging out with those maids after all that milking. And number 1, Christmas Carol. This is my favorite one, is Jingle Bells. Now, I'm not talking about that alternate version that Bart Simpson sang back in 1989, but I'm talking about the original version. I'm not talking about Batman smelling, Joker getting away, the Batmobile breaking a wheel. No, none of that stuff. I'm talking the original Jingle Bells. None of that funny business. Straightforward Kenny Fry here. So that's the top 10 Christmas carols in my mind. Dave Arnold says Frosty the Snowman, best Christmas carol, hands down, big man. I like Frosty the Snowman. For me, I was kind of struggling between Frosty and then Rudolph at number 9. I was going to toss Frosty in there, but I kept Frosty on the outskirts. Frosty the Snowman was a happy, jolly soul with a corncob pipe and a button nose and 2 eyes made out of coal. Pappy Fry's here watching the show right now. Yuki Matsui says, Kenny is singing. My cats are going bonkers. They're loving it. I know they're loving it. Yuki says, rate my potential signing. Tim Anderson for DH 1 year for 7. Absolutely. I'd take that in a heartbeat. I think the Tim Anderson, I think he struggled last season with the White Sox. If I could be wrong about that, I don't know. I'm wrong about a lot of things, but I think that's absolutely worth the risk there. Absolutely 100% worth the risk. I'm still holding out hope for Rhys Hoskins, but if the Mets finally sign Pete Alonso, then I think Rhys Hoskins would be out the window. There's been rumors of Rhys signing, I think, in Chicago as well. So I don't know. Again, all sorts of stupid ass rumors on the X, on the old Twitter box. So who knows? But I do like that. 1 year, $7 million. Absolutely. Yeah, I'd take that. So that's all I have for today's show. I appreciate everybody checking it out very much. I will be on tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. with the Silver and Black Lair. Friday, I have my third shift Christmas party after work, so I will not be on Friday. So I will be on tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., talking Las Vegas Raiders and LA Kings hockey. So be sure to check that out. Tell your friends, your brothers, your sisters too. Tell Santa Claus, Dasher, Dancer, Prancer, Vixen, Comet, Cubit, Donner, and Blitzen. Maybe even Rudolph. He might be a little bit too young for it because sometimes I curse. But tell everybody about it. I appreciate everybody for checking the show out, for commenting. Be sure to follow us, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram. As soon as we figure out how to get the old Instagram on here, we're going to start broadcasting over Instagram. Like, follow, subscribe. Please hit that subscribe button. That really helps us out a lot. And got one more comment before I get the hell out of here. Eileen, love this thing. There we go. It's going to make you want to bake cookies later on. You're like, you know what? After Kenny sang, I'm going to make some cookies. And don't be afraid to mail them to me. I do accept cookies through the mail. So just so you know. All right. So that's all I have for today. Thank you very much for checking the show out, everybody. Let me get to the right page here so I don't look like an idiot. I'll just talk like one. Thanks. I'll see everybody later. Have a Merry Christmas if I don't see you guys tomorrow on the Silver and Black Lair or Saturday on the Atomic Drop podcast. Have a Merry Christmas. Enjoy your time with your family. I hope Santa Claus gets you everything you want. Let's go, Mets. See yous.